Howdy guys, Rex here. You never know when it's your time to go, so it's wise to be ready and in order at all times, like we talk about all the time on the channel. We just lost one of our crew, Timothy LaRose. He was the Rex Defense Military Coordinator, Project Manager, and my compliance officer for international stuff. And he just passed away on the 28th of February. Last Friday, I was in Las Vegas finishing up my 5-day series of courses down there, and he was back at home on the East Coast and unexpectedly passed on. And kind of took everybody sort of by surprise, I think. He leaves his wife Melissa behind and 6 children. So I'm sure they could use your prayers and support. Tim was a very straight shooting guy. And if you had the pleasure to have met him at any point, whether it was during your service time, he's been in the Army for 20 years, starting way back at Desert Storm. He was a Special Forces Warrant Officer, and he did strategic reconnaissance in Desert Storm. He was QRF in Somalia when the Black Hawk helicopters went down. He was there for that. He was in Kosovo, taking out the bad guys there, and also in Bosnia, rounding up the war criminals. And he was one of the first. He was like the first team on the ground in Afghanistan right after 9/11. And so he's been around a lot, and he was in Iraq and Afghanistan and everywhere else in between. He gave his life to protect the country and to serve all of us. And he continued to do that after he got out of the service. And he was working with contractors over there on various details. If you guys want, I set up a GoFundMe page for his wife Melissa, and it has kind of the details of a story. Now, he was always a very, very quintessential, quiet professional. The guys on the Special Forces teams for the Army, the Green Berets, are very, very quiet. Typically, they won't advertise that. I encouraged him to kind of share some of his experiences, and he was very, very shy to do that, just because of the way they raise those guys. They're very, very quiet about what they do. But if you want to know more about kind of what he's done in his life, I put it on that GoFundMe page. I'll have a link to it at the bottom here. Now, you think that a guy like that, especially when you read through his resume and what he's done and all the different things, you think that he'd be very, very well taken care of by the service, right? By the Army. That's not always the case. And I'll tell you that sometimes, and I've had this speech before, if you are a truly good man and what's right matters more than what people want you to do, sometimes that can get you to not be super popular all the time. And so I don't expect him to be super well taken care of by those that should be the people. A lot of veterans have better experiences when it comes to that kind of stuff. Some guys stand up for what's legal and just and moral and right, and it costs them a lot. And so that's one deal why I made a GoFundMe page for his wife, is because I kind of know that would be helpful for him. So he's always been a very straight shooter. Sometimes that people don't like that. Sometimes it'll get you in weird spots. I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, pretty sure he talked about his buddy Pat. Some of you guys might know Pat McNamara. They went through like the Q together back in the day before Pat went off and did other things. And so he's in that age range and in about that tier. He's been all over the place, done a lot of stuff. So it was, and I don't really like know what to say right now. Like I don't know what. There's no words I can say that can make it better or less weird or. But I do feel that I have to speak my piece. He contributed a lot to the project for Rex Defense, putting together the small unit tactics course, kind of working on the Zulu project behind the scenes. We had some other things that were coming together that he will not be around for to reap the benefits of if we ever roll with it. And so that's another reason too why I want to make sure that anyone who's ever been appreciative of what you might have learned, those of you that came to the designated marksman course or any of the other courses, guys like that are treasures because they pass on their knowledge out of patriotism. When I vetted Tim, like I'm gonna have to vet him. He had to vet me because I'm the goofball. But when I vetted him, we sat down and we were introduced, and we talked for quite a while. Had a good sense of humor, and he was very clean cut, and he talked pretty fast. When you get him excited, he knew his stuff really very well, and the things that I was most pleased with him about was his general point of aim in life. Very family-centered, very much a patriot in the original sense of the word. Americana, preserving freedom, liberty, and also he wasn't scared to talk about the way things really are. And so I very much appreciate and am grateful to have learned from him while he was here. We did not expect him to go away so quick. And so it's a bad deal. I mean, I don't know how many stories I want to tell. That's probably, well, hell with it, I'll do it anyways. He was a funny guy. He had a lot of good stories. He was a little bit of a scrapper back in the day. He was going through language school in St. Petersburg, and that's because you got to learn second and third languages for those types of units. And so he was learning Russian when he was, for the Army, because that was the Cold War days. And so he would, this is what he told me when we were sitting around a swimming pool one day or something like that. And he was saying how like he would purposefully take kind of the bad train where all the thugs would be, the drunk guys trying to rob you, because there's a lot of crime in, on the streets at night in St. Petersburg. And so he would get disappointed if people wouldn't try to mug him. Usually be 2 or 3 guys at a time, and that was kind of his way of staying sharp with hand-to-hand type stuff. And he would never like seriously hurt these guys, but it was fun to wrestle. And he says, they like to fight. Those guys like to fight a lot. They just don't know how to do it all that well. So that's what I think of when I think of Tim. Is just like very straightforward. Kind of. I mean, we all got our things that we like that are maybe not some things we should brag about, but I thought that was funny because I can see him doing that, And he just kind of was an adrenaline junkie in that way, and liked to get into, was like, oh man, nobody wanted to rob me today. And then he'd be kind of like, he'd be down, until the next day, yes, 3 guys want to take my wallet, perfect. And then he'd wrestle them and show them some moves, So, yeah. And then, of course, those of you last year in Pennsylvania who got to hang out with him, got to hear him say some of his stories. I probably won't repeat what a lot of those are. Guys like that are very, very rare, and they're treasures. And so that's why when I do my training, when I have guys like that there, and I'm glad that when he was with us doing that, when he was talking, and this is a lesson for life, for everybody, okay? If you got an elder that's a treasure like that, and they're talking and explaining the way stuff is, it's not the time to go screw off and build a sled or something, okay? That's the time to, or, I don't know. That's the time to, like, Come sit around, hear what he has to say. Because you don't know how long, you don't know when the next time you're going to talk to him is. If ever, right? So for those of you that got all the gold nuggets in between, that's something you can hang on to. You guys were talking to a living legend and didn't even know it because he was living up to his expectation to be a quiet professional. There are other outfits that are a little more boisterous and loud about what they do. He wasn't that way. By the way, if you ever seen the movie Black Hawk Down, he was one of the guys actually in the movie because he was advising Force, showing him how to use fast rope and stuff. Because he was there in the Moog when that all went down, like I said, on the QRF. And so in the movie, they said, hell with it, we'll just do it. Film us from far away, you know? And so the close-up shots were the actors, but all the stuff where they're actually coming down on the fast ropes, that was him and his guys. And so if you've ever seen that, there's little factoids, you know, lots of stuff like that. Very interesting. And so we're, of course, we're going to continue. We pretty much had almost everything ready to rock and roll for the rest of the courses. It was just a matter of timing and, you know, everything else that was going on. So, but yeah, so that's what happened. And for those of you, I apologize, in Las Vegas on Friday evening who are with me around supper time. That's why I was acting not with my tail wagging as much as usual, maybe a little more serious tone. I didn't want to spoil the mood at the table or nothing like that. But that's what was going on. So I just found out as that happened there on Friday. So, if you guys want to show your support for his wife, I'm sure she would very much appreciate that. I got the thing started. It's the first time I've ever done one of those. I don't know how that works exactly. I think you just click on the link and then you can donate money or whatever. And it'll all go to Melissa, his wife, and she can distribute it as needed to, you know, if any of the kids need anything or need any help. So don't expect that the government will take care of you, because sometimes those guys that are the true patriots, you know, they do what's right, and sometimes that's expensive. And so then they depend on guys like us to take care of them when they pass on and their families. So I know I would want that to happen for Mrs. Rex when someday if I ever check out. You know, if you guys can take care of her and my family, if I was ever to check out, that would be awesome. But that's the same way I feel about my guys, like. And so pass this on, share it. It'll be doing a lot of good, even if you can only give it like $5 or whatever, or $1 or $100. I don't know. Like, it's not. I don't care. It's not like it's not going to me. It's going to Melissa. So whatever you can conjure up, whatever that you're led to give, if you want to do that, do that. If you can't, then just please pass this on and share it. Okay, make sure you share the link and read the story. It's very formal. It's basically, I redacted a lot of the stuff that was in there, but it basically was his resume from when we took him on. And so I took some of the information out of there that probably shouldn't be on there, but you can see where the guy's been. He liked rock and roll. He thought he had a good sense of humor. He laughed at all our silly stuff that we did, and he'll be dearly missed. So, super sorry to the family for the loss, and we'll see what we can round up to help. Okay. All right. God bless.